Hey everybody, I'm Gary Pierce, one half of the eponymous Jay and Gary Show. And yesterday, February 9th, was the 1-year anniversary of the first episode of that show. A podcast that set the internet on fire. I was trying to release this episode yesterday on the anniversary, but the technical gods and demons were determined that that wasn't going to happen. I solved all the problems just in time to go watch the Super Bowl and then go to bed. So here we are a day late. And that kind of sums up the show anyway. Rarely did anything go as planned. Not that we ever really planned anything. Which is really an understatement because we for sure didn't plan on Jay being diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer and passing away last August. For a while in the show, we didn't seem to take it all that seriously. It didn't seem real, at least not to me. And maybe not to Jay, I don't know. We thought we had time. We thought we had hope. Turns out we didn't have much of either. After Jay died, I listened to the episodes that we had produced. I listened to them a lot because, as we said often, we hadn't been that close. And we were kind of making up for lost time. We weren't done, not by a long shot, when Jay's time ran out. So I listened and listened to get every story, every little nuance of what he said. It's always true that when I'm doing a show, recording an interview or a conversation, I miss a lot in that moment. I learn a lot when I play them back. And that's extra true of the shows I did with Jay. They are precious to me. After he died, I lost something. I'm not a driven person. I don't have vaulting ambition. But I sometimes get an idea of something I want to do, and sometimes I actually do it, and the show was one of those things. After Jay died, I knew I wanted to keep doing the show, but the energy was gone. It took a while. But Jay's kids, his son Dale and his daughter Sara, wanted to keep it going too. So we did a show on New Year's Day, and that was great. But I was still gathering energy. I knew I wanted to produce a show for this anniversary, and so on Saturday, Sara, Dale, my wife Cyndi, and I recorded a conversation, and you'll hear that in a minute. As I recorded that, I realized that these guys aren't the broadcast professionals that Jay and I are. Even though we hadn't talked much in, say, 50 years, Jay and I had an easy banter that comes from years behind the mic. And we talked about that some. It's kind of acting real and casual. But the kids are genuine, and media is different today anyway. Jay and I were dinosaurs. So that's coming up. But first, a short trip through a few bits of the way too few podcasts that Jay and I recorded, from the first words that we said to the last. The whole shows are all on our YouTube channel and on the website that hosts the podcast audio. That's the PierceBrothersPodcasting.com media empire. And like I said, they set the internet on fire. Well, I thought they were pretty good. It's always been mostly friends and family and maybe a few strangers that we picked up along the way. And I don't know how it will end one day, but here's how it began. This could be epic. It could be terrible.
And the stuff that you say when you're not trying to plan out what you're saying is sometimes the best. Old reporter's trick, always roll tape.
We will find a theme song. We'll find some music.
We'll get a real title. We'll get the title and graphics.
Yeah. The title is The Jay and Gary Show.
Yeah, but we got to get it in graphics.
Yeah, unless you got a better idea.
No, I'll go with that. Okay. It's very simple and it's true and it's authentic.
Yeah. And the corporate overlord is Pierce Brothers. The website you're going to look for is Pierce Brothers Podcasting.
Cool.
Pretty sure I can get that. And I just realized I shouldn't have mentioned that because now someone's going to go get it. And then I realized we're not live. So
yeah, really. So how are they going to hear it?
Yeah. And I just realized that I never started recording.
You didn't?
No.
Cool. And
that was a good rehearsal.
How many times have I done that?
So this must be the start of the show. Wrong music.
That's the breaking news theme.
When we get some breaking news, I'll let you know. From the studio in the bonus room above the garage, Illinois.
In Champaign, Illinois, just off I-50.
I really want you to include something about Hell 9000.
Champaign, Illinois, Urbana, the home of Hell.
The birthplace
of the birthplace
from the
of
University of Illinois, the birthplace of the Hell 9000
and the transistor.
And the transistor.
Yeah.
This is the Jay and Gary Show.
Yes, it is.
A YouTube show and a podcast. Okay, here's our new intro. You ready?
Yeah.
God.
In the attic on the cul-de-sac, in the buckle of the corn belt.
And what am I insisting that you add to your little spiel there?
The home of Hal.
The birthplace.
The birthplace of Hal.
Hal 9000.
9000.
I think it's 9000.
I don't know.
It's 9000, isn't it? I think it's 9000.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not on the Big Bang Theory. I don't know. We got up on TikTok. Your thing works.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Gary.
And we're white and old.
And we're rapping TikTok.
Because we podcast.
Boom. We are live. Live.
We're on the air.
We're live. No one's
And I'm
watching
in the
us
attic
live.
near the home of Hal 9000.
The birthplace.
Oh, the birthplace of Hal
Hal
9000. The Netscape Navigator.
Yeah.
And the transistor.
That means this is... Wait a minute. This is...
No, what I was
Clock the
diagnosed
brain.
with a week ago this Wednesday, so it's pretty fresh, was pancreatic cancer.
Oh, wait a minute. This sounds like news. Hang on a second.
It is. One week ago, Wednesday, I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer that has spread to my liver and some lymph nodes. Said to be inoperable.
Hence the title.
Hence the title, Gut Punch. Home birthplace of Hell 9000.
Birthplace. You almost got it right there.
Whatever.
Do you feel good enough for a jovial show? Or should we just go right into the pain?
I'm good for whatever.
Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new podcast. It's going to be the Jay and Gary Pancreatic Cancer Cast.
This is all about me going through stage 4 pancreatic cancer that spread to my liver and what it's like to go through it. I was diagnosed about a month ago now, and I've had my first chemo infusion, and I feel like crap.
So, everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the Jay and Gary Pancreatic Cancer Cast. See this guy? Wait a minute. There we go. There he is. How you doing?
Well, you know, if they're doing a 0 to 10 level, pain level, whatever you want to call it, I'm about in the middle right now.
Where's the
About
pain?
5. It's still in the abdomen.
And you had your second infusion yesterday. You're barfy this morning?
A little bit on the barfy side, but I haven't barfed.
It is Tuesday, July 16th, 2024.
Hey everybody, it's the Jay and Gary Pancreatic Cancer Cast, and listen, I'm starting to get my mellifluous tones back.
Sounds good. Look at all the people that I got on the screen. It's a kind of an awkward, clunky shot, but
Cool though.
with our rapid technology, that's we got set up. This is Carl Foundation Hospital. Jay is upstairs. He is not communicative. He's in his final hours or perhaps days. See this? That is another new day getting started. The earth keeps turning. We lost Jay this morning at about, well, the family wants to say 4:20. Technically 4:19 this morning. Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. So I'm Gary Pierce, and this will be the Jay and Gary Pancreatic Cancer Cast number. And that's a look at how we got started. And here we are to carry on. It's the Jay and Gary Show. And, sure, I'll do this part.
The Jay and Gary
And this part. Once upon a time I was the king of the dial. I used to be a radio guy. What happened to me? I'm just another idiot with a pod. And then there's this part. And it is the show that we're going to do. Ain't Nobody Happy. And here are all the unhappy people. Hello, unhappy people. Carrying on with the Jay and Gary show. Let's see who we got here. We begin with Dale. Hey, Dale.
Hi.
The monosyllabic Jay's son, Dale.
No question was asked of me.
Yeah, well, I'll mention what's going on in a moment. And Sara has dropped offline for a moment with a attractive frozen finger right at the camera. We'll be back. And my lovely wife, Cyndi. Good morning, Cyndi. Good afternoon, Cyndi.
Well, for me, it's still morning. Yes.
And finally, to round things out, sort of like at the dinner table, when you set a place for someone who has recently departed, set a place here for Jay. And we'll have to see what happens to get Sara back. Checking over on the Zoom, and she's not there. So what do we mean by ain't nobody happy? I've been watching on our family Facebook Messenger thread, and it's political, right? You guys don't like what's going on?
Like I said, I have few nice things to say right now, and I have a one-track mind, and I think that's appropriate.
Yeah, it's at one point we mentioned that, and toward the end of last year, that it was a terrible year for a lot of reasons. And then, and a few of you mentioned, well, yeah, but wait a minute, we had a new kid. You had a new kid, Dale. And there's Sarah's back. And
sorry, Jay had to go to the bathroom.
oh, okay. Yeah, we didn't want to see that.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so it's your turn to say hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
And tell us where you are.
I am in Elgin at the Bumblebee Cafe with little Jay, who is right there, being Spider-Man, saving the city, having a good time.
And we can hear some of that going on in the background. Some of it's going to go away with the audio gating that I run here on the podcast. And so we've got a new generation coming up. And for a while, I was despairing at the new generation. The atmosphere is going to crap. And by the way, we can swear if we want. You guys aren't, effing this and effing that all day long, are you?
I am, just not around family usually.
I do when I hit my thumb with a hammer. Sara, are you a serial cursing like a sailor?
I am, and Jay has said things every now and then, so I try and watch it around him, but I think the F word emphasizes feelings. I think it's necessary sometimes.
Okay, well, we can do that if you want. Cyndi, knowing you the best, I know that it erupts from you primarily in traffic.
That's true. Yeah, when I'm driving, definitely. And when I was working. But I noticed that your
working personality was entirely different from your home family personality.
Vocabulary was totally different. Yeah. But when I retired, I noticed, wow, I haven't been cussing as much. It was inspiration when I was working.
All right. Well, if anybody feels the need to drop the F-bomb, you may. We'll warn the audience that this is something that could come up, could happen at any time. And Sarah, watch the position of your thumb. I think you're hanging it over the mute button because it's kind of noisy where you are. So, but yeah, we'll try to avoid that as much as we can. All right, so I was despairing of the next generation for Dale, for your daughter Charlotte, and Sarah, for your son. We're working on not sticking him with little J. It's kind of hard because there was Big J down there in the corner, and a little J, but we won't want that to hit him as a teenager. So I'm kind of thinking Grandpa J and Grandson J.
Just LJ.
Hi, Jay. Jay can't hear us. Sarah's on earbuds.
Yeah. He doesn't like to be called Little J anymore. But I've tried to explain to him that Grandpa J is Big J, and he's always going to be Little J, technically. So we'll have to keep going over that. But he's okay.
I'm not Little J.
You are Little J.
No, I'm not. I'm 4J.
You're 4J. Okay, he's 4J now.
Okay, 4J works good. 4-year-old J, grandson J, all those work pretty good. 4J, you're going to get to watch this when you're at any point. You know, the YouTube probably stick around for decades, and this will be here, and you'll get to see your family at this age, and as you've grown up, and you'll say, "Boy, they're embarrassing people." And I'm not little J. Anyway, so what I was saying was that I was despairing for their next generation, but I heard somebody on a podcast say, well, we're probably going to get fusion energy sometime in the not too distant future, and that's going to make a real big change because fusion energy will make most of the things that are really troublesome these days, will solve a lot of problems, solve environmental problems, solve energy problems, food problems. If that really happens, we've got some hope for the future. I was also mentioning that generally technology in general keeps advancing things, and usually for the better. So we'll see. But we have to get through the next 4 years.
Yeah, I'm concerned with who's putting the money in and developing that technology and what their intention is for it, because it's being misapplied in so many ways now. I think it'll be, say after fusion, at least 50 years before that benefits every common peasant on the planet. Maybe longer, sadly.
But you think it's going to come?
That might make sense. Well, yeah, I mean, we've done it on a very small scale multiple times now, so it's definitely coming.
And we know it exists because that's what the sun is. You know, it's not theoretical. It's not theoretical science. Like nobody's been there to test it, but we think that's what's inside the sun. It's all fusion energy.
The last solar probe confirmed a lot. So, well, not confirmed, but just generally, its data was what we expected.
All right, so there's hope for the future, but we have to get through the next 4 years, and that is what this is all about. We knew it was coming after November 5th. We knew this was coming, but now it's here, and it's here, and it's worse than we ever thought it was going to be.
Yeah. There are a few shoes left to drop, though. The waiting is excruciating. But all of these things have been promised. That's why 2024 was one of the worst years ever, because we knew, and we had to see that and wait all of December and now all of January. I'm waiting for the promised things that are going to directly affect my family. There are two major ones that are going to change our lives if they get through. Not that I have full confidence they will, because they're all clowns.
Yeah. What do you see happening?
To change my family's life?
Yeah.
Katie is a literature teacher, and I'm not looking forward to her getting sent a list of books she can't teach anymore. Although they said they only want reading, writing, and arithmetic to be the only subjects taught in public school.
Yeah. We're not going to call it math anymore. It's going to be arithmetic.
Yeah. That might have just been me being silly. And then student loans, if they really have as much hatred for those of us who went to college and haven't been able to pay for it yet as they seem to, I'm concerned about that. Because I'm not paying, I don't have any income, but I suspect that won't stop them from collecting from me. So,
yeah.
Those are the two major things. They're not as bad as what some people are facing.
Sarah, how do you feel about the future for young Jay?
I'm actually a little optimistic because he's so young. So, by the time he's older and can contribute to society, all of these people in power right now will have died out, and it'll be a big country filled with his generation. So, hopefully all this gentle parenting will contribute to nice humans that want to take care of the earth and care about society and each other. That's all I can hope for. My mom said that I need to keep having babies so that we can have more people to be good humans. I don't know about that right now. I don't think I want to have another kid during this presidency, but we'll see what happens.
Well, when the conservative breeding push happens, 50% of those families in Utah that have like 8 kids, 50% of those kids usually end up leftist or queer in some way. So they're feeding our numbers as much as we can by having kids. It's wasteful to have too many right now, in my opinion.
Cyndi, you have run into kids in Utah, but not a lot of kids, but you've run into people in Utah.
Yeah. And there's a cross section there for sure.
Yeah. How are you feeling about the future?
Not real good. Not at all. No. Especially with what Elon's doing. That just scares the hell out of me. Just being coming from the IT background and having these people go in and just, God knows what they're doing. I mean, think about things like the FAA. I mean, if they're in there mucking around with systems, that scares the hell out of me. And, getting rid of so many of the programs that are here to protect us through the FDA, through the CDC. I mean, I could go on and on about the fact that they're in it just for the numbers. All their concern is just the numbers. It doesn't have to do with providing any help or trying to understand what all these particular actions of the government do on a daily basis and what they're providing us behind the scenes. I truly believe they have absolutely no idea, and they don't care, which is sad because they're all sitting on so much money. What do they care? So, but it just totally scares the hell out of me.
So I've got a couple of things that I've been thinking of in general about what's going on. And that's that's our logo picture. Jay appreciated that I grabbed this one. For those of you looking at the video, for audio audience, you can't see what I'm pointing at. This is Jay hollering into his microphone, sort of doing the rant thing. So this is what's been going through my mind. First of all, we are overwhelmed everybody ought to be overwhelmed who's paying any attention to the news. And I know not everybody pays attention to the news. A lot of people have on the left particularly said that they were going to tune it out for a good long time, maybe the whole 4 years. I think that's probably a bad idea, but I'm not going to tell them what to do because it's just overwhelming. You can't keep up. The people on the news channels can't keep up. They got to select one or two things per show, and the next show comes on and they cover the same one or two things because those are the current things that are happening. And we've already forgotten the ridiculous atrocity of the day before or 2 or 3 days before because the next thing is piled on. You can't keep up and you're just totally overwhelmed. And that's their plan. That was what they were going for. They wanted to make it impossible to follow what's going on. They call it flooding the zone. It was a Bannon phrase, flooding the zone. So that's one of my big deep thoughts. The other one is how we got here. Back at the election, we have the Republican base. They love Trump. They were always in Trump's camp. Didn't matter what he said. Didn't matter how outrageous he was. And I guess that's part of the being overwhelmed is that understand his method, understand what his modus operandi is, and that is to be completely outrageous. And somebody, I think, got it right on a show I was watching recently, and they said all of the really wacky stuff that he proposes, things like let's clear everybody out of Gaza and build resorts. Those are trial balloons. He's sending them up. Politicians have always done this. They've just been a little bit more subtle about it. He's absolutely not subtle about it. He is banging it at us. It's a trial balloon. He launches it out there with all the bombast to see what the reaction is. And if the reaction is swift and powerful, he'll back off a little bit. And if it seems to catch some traction, he will move on. He'll do whatever he wants, but he does pay a little bit of attention to what the reaction is. So I can hear the washing machine is starting to vibrate, Cyndi. So the election, we got the Republican base, and they love him, and they'll take all of his hyperbole in stride. It's the take him seriously but not literally kind of thing. And then the Democratic base, we were not anywhere near as solidly behind Democratic candidates, Biden for a while and then Harris. But we were pretty much unified in the basic policies, what we were going to do. Neither side had enough numbers. Neither side was big enough to elect a candidate. It takes that 10% in the middle that doesn't pay very much attention to politics, doesn't pay very much attention to government, to what's going on, until middle of October, maybe late October. Then they start paying attention. They might be influenced by ads. They might be influenced by social media. And catch what the latest little wave is that is kind of going around. And that's what their influence is. But this time for those people, what they were paying attention to was the inflation that we had in the recovery from COVID. It was somewhere between 10, 20%, depending on which items you're looking at. And that's what they latched onto. That they could see every day in their lives. At the grocery store, everything they bought on Amazon, the prices had gone up 10, 20%, sometimes more. Their rent had gone up. Housing had been almost unaffordable. Housing had been unaffordable, not just almost. So that's what they were paying attention to. They weren't Trump loyalists. They weren't buying Trump's line. They may have bought Trump's line that he would bring prices down a little bit because they weren't interested in hearing that, well, yes, inflation was really bad, but it is now under 3%. It was under 3% as of the election. They didn't care because that wasn't bringing prices down. And Trump said he'd bring prices down. And then once he was elected, he said, maybe not. Maybe not so much. But my point is they were not Trump loyalists. They won't be Trump people in the future. They will be swayed back and forth by the same kinds of things they've always been swayed by. And they won't be in Trump's camp. So when we do the midterms in 22, we have pretty good chance of seeing the same thing happen with most midterms, and that is that the party in power loses seats in Congress, in the House and in the Senate, and they don't have very many seats to lose before things shift back over to the Democrats. So that's my political punditry. Hang on, that's my punditry.
Well,
and that's why I'm a little bit more optimistic about what might happen in the future. Dale, what do you think?
well, I think that ball of people in the middle, it's definitely going to grow because every single person's going to try to claim something or log into something or do something and get blocked and say, well, I'll vote against that. But I wonder if it was them or Elon's voting computers that actually made the difference. Electoral college wise, I believe my last check on the Axios page before I closed it out for the season was that she lost swing states, electoral college by 145,000 votes, and the popular by 2 million, whatever. Elon's voting computers, Clark County, Nevada, and Pennsylvania, patterns resemble Russian voter fraud. Man was already being investigated for it. All of those obvious things. I truly believe that interference is what decided this election, and it's not a huge leap. I mean, I've watched Hillary Clinton lose the popular vote or win the popular vote and lose. I've watched Al Gore lose to the Supreme Court. I should be living in a progressive utopia in my life right now. So, and it doesn't make me a January 6th insurrectionist to believe that either. It's completely different.
Well, I haven't heard the Democratic or the progressive side's version of a big lie very much. Do you think that they actually got in and manipulated the vote, or it was just manipulating the voters?
Yeah, well, they did that too. They were bombing ballot boxes and burning them and intimidating people wearing MAGA hats at polling places. They do that where I live. They didn't this time, but the last 2 times I voted, there were people in MAGA hats and shirts right outside the polling place. Or when you choose a Democratic ballot in a place like this, and in South Carolina too, it might be like this. They'll say Democrat across the room, intimidatingly.
They did not do that where we vote.
Yeah.
And
the
we're
systems we use.
Yeah, we're in a pretty red county in a pretty red part of a pretty red county.
But on top of all of that stuff, though, Elon, his ilk, these 20-something hacker coder guys, they look at a system like that and they say, oh, this is easily exploitable and nobody's tried it before. Easy target. And we left it an easy target by not doing anything to fix our elections after they were attacked. It's mind-blowing to imagine, but it happened and they admitted it and we can see it. It's been investigated for almost a decade now. My belief.
I guess I'm not seeing that in the news. Where do you find that?
The Clark County, Nevada. I forget who is reporting it. There are so many names and groups anymore, but legitimate local news sources have been reporting on the voting pattern irregularities, and I've seen Pennsylvania mentioned a lot as well. But I mean, there are no larger bodies operating right now to even open some kind of inquiry. So I don't even know what vehicle we would use to pursue that at this point if we didn't already.
Yeah, there certainly won't be any federal
Yeah.
investigations.
But I mean, to me, it seems like it's a where there's smoke, there's fire kind of thing. It's like everything else with Trump. It's very obvious based on the decisions they've made before and after, and the things they've said. I mean, like with everything he says, almost he'd be a fool. Yeah.
Yep. Cyndi, you don't steep yourself in the cable news stuff, but you watch real news sources. Do you think there was much shenanigans going on in the election?
Well, I don't know. I use a lot of news sources. I think I counted over 30 news bureaus that I have their app on my iPhone. And what I do like to do is when I hear something, is just bounce it off of some of the major ones just to see if there's, if everybody else is talking about it too. And also it's interesting to go over to say like Europe or Australia. I've got, BBC, I've got the Times of Ireland, and just, see what's going on. First off, what's going on in the rest of the world, because I hate that Trump is getting so much, as I call it, oxygen, because they're just constantly talking about him. And, but that's the way he's wanted it from day one. And so I just like to bounce things off of a plethora of world news sources to come to my own conclusions about what potentially is going on.
It is all Trump all the time these days.
Sadly, yeah.
And that's one of the things that the media, the central media and the media on the left had said they did wrong before, was that they gave too much oxygen to Trump. And now
I said
that's
it
all
the whole time during the first election. You're giving him way too much screen time. You're saying his name too much. You're quoting him. And the reason they do it, sadly, let's go back to what the news media is doing, especially cable. This is all about eyeballs. Eyeballs are monetized because of the advertising dollar. And people don't realize that. And I keep trying to explain that to people. The reason that they get so, riled up is because we're kind of wired to feed right into that kind of thing. And so they're totally playing on human emotion. And I could see through it the whole time. And it irks me that it seems like the majority of people can't see that this is all very calculated. From day one, it was calculated. So I'm just thoroughly disgusted with the human race. I'll put it to you that way.
Yeah, I think that's something we probably didn't think about hard enough in as it was being presented to us. People said the first Trump term was haphazard. He didn't know what he was doing. This one, they said, watch out. He knows exactly what he's going to do. And he's got the people around him to get it executed. And
yep.
Boy,
Whereas
howdy,
before,
he does.
Remember, he kept throwing people in and out because he actually had some that had, the credentials to be in that position as cabinet members. And he was constantly throwing them out whenever they would, voice their objection to something that he wanted to do. But now, he's got all yes men and women. And he is just putting all these little pieces into place. And that whole bullshit about, I don't know about Project 2025. Oh, yes, you do. You absolutely did. And you've read it very thoroughly. And you've been talking to all these people and getting all this stuff into place in order to make it happen. So once again, just disgusted with people that they can't see through all this and connect the dots.
I think I hear Sara wants to get in here.
Oh, I was just going to say that I didn't buy that for a second when he was saying that he hadn't even read it and didn't know what that was and wasn't a part of it. That was never true. That was such crap.
That's what he says about
people.
Yeah, that's what he says about everything that goes that reverses direction on him. I didn't know who they. I'd never met them. I don't know who they are.
I didn't say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it's on tape, and of course MSNBC will play the tape of him saying, saying something and then saying he never said it, but Fox News won't play that tape.
And he'll still deny it.
Yeah.
And you confront his supporters with the worst things he said, and they will all say, "I've never heard that."
And it's true, they haven't, because Fox News doesn't play it.
I wouldn't say that. No, they.
All the ones I know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they can say it, but I'm not buying it.
Well, yeah.
Not buying it.
Sarah, are you still getting most of your news from TikTok?
No, unfortunately, when TikTok got banned, I deleted the app because I'm very impulsive and I didn't think it was going to come back. And then it came back 12 hours later and it's still not available in the App Store. I can look at it from a browser, but it's not logged into my account, so my algorithm's not set up. So I just haven't looked at it in a while. And Instagram and Facebook, I've kind of gotten it to just be, I don't know, like based on the reality shows that I watch. Like my Instagram and Facebook aren't political at all, except for my dad's friends that all friended me during his cancer journey. They talk about politics all the time, but otherwise it's just, fluff.
So where do you go?
No,
where do you go to find out what's going on?
So every morning I read on my NPR app and kind of get a rundown of the previous day and kind of what's going on. And then on the way to daycare, Jay and I have a deal that I can listen to the news. And when I pick him up in the afternoon, we listen to his music. Mm-hmm. So I listen to WBEZ, which is an NPR station, on the way to daycare and then on the way to work. So that's about an hour and a half every day.
What kind of music does young Jay like to listen to?
Theme songs for shows he likes. So Transformers and Blaze and the Monster Machines and Paw Patrol. And then there's just stupid little songs that people created just for fun, like one that just repeats itself over and over. Oh, and the Axolotl song. It's a relaxing song. It's actually really cute if you guys look it up. Daily, that might be good for Charlotte. It's just a guy singing about an axolotl.
I've heard it, yeah.
Which is a little sea creature, but it's adorable.
How do you spell that?
AXOLOTL. Axolotl.
I'm waiting for my browser to show up on my screen here.
They're little evolutionary wonders, axolotls.
Yeah, and it's a cute little sea creature. But the song is just meant to be relaxing and easy. A lot of the songs Jay listens to are intense and kind of earworms, but this one's just cute.
I can't type and do television at the same time. Axolotl song.
I don't know.
This is one of those things where maybe it gets us taken down. I don't know. But we'll find out. Let's see.
We're not monetized.
We're not monetized, but that's still we can get anywhere between taken down and get monetized. Monetized is fine. I'm happy to have someone else claim some money from people watching us. But
I find when I post. Sorry.
Yeah, which one of these am I looking for? The Axolotl song by Dream Precious Jewel?
The guy.
Oh, this guy over here
in the
on
blue shirt. Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
There's an axolotl on the pink stairs. Is an axolotl supposed to be there? If you ask an axolotl if they'll be back tomorrow, a penguin waddles in and then the axolotl's gone. There's an axolotl on the lawn chair. Is an axolotl supposed to be there? If you ask an axolotl if they'll be back tomorrow, a penguin waddles in and then the axolotl's gone. There's an axolotl at the front door. Is that what the welcome sign is there for? If you ask an axolotl if they'll be back tomorrow, a penguin waddles in and then the axolotl's gone. Ribble, rubble, axolotl.
All the kids in the background are singing along.
Penguin waddle, we'll see you tomorrow.
Does Jay know all the words?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, him and Cody sing it. I think Cody found it on TikTok because Cody
Cody
did not
sings
delete
it too.
TikTok.
Cody's dad.
Cody's
dad.
Yeah, Cody's really smart and didn't delete TikTok immediately. But he follows a lot of parenting creators, and then stumbled upon that. And Jay had happened to be watching with him and loved it, and so he had to play it 100 times in a row. So they both know all the words.
So I've heard that if you have an iPhone that still has the TikTok app on it, you can sell it for a big premium for a whole lot of extra money.
Yeah, my boss was talking about that last night. He said he saw upwards of $1,000.
Yeah. Now, do you have an iPhone or a Android phone?
I have an iPhone.
Okay, so you're stuck because you can't sideload things. If you have an Android phone, you can still get the TikTok app. You just can't get it from the app store. You can get it from someplace in China, and it'll put malware on your phone.
I feel fine not having TikTok, honestly. I think I spent a lot more time than I realized. I get a notification once a week about my screen time, and it's gone down pretty significantly. So I'm pretty happy about that. It was mostly relaxing. A lot of people call it brain rot, but I was looking at parenting videos and the Pearl Mania guy and I guess just lifestyle kind of videos. But all that stuff is on YouTube, so I can look at YouTube reels and find recipes and how to clean something and whatever. TikTok was just a little bit more convenient. But it's okay. I'm going to be okay without it.
You're going to survive.
I will survive, yes. Cody did say, though, that his TikTok has gotten a lot more political. There's a lot more military things and a lot more MAGA content. And that's not really how his algorithm was set up before. So that's
but it's still showing it to him.
Yeah.
So that means that the TikTok folks have pushed it to him because they decide how it's going to work. Yeah, all of the screaming going on. Show us what's going on around you, Sarah. Give us the big picture.
So Jay eating a snack. And there's other kids. So this is the cafe part. They've got a nice little area where you can be quiet. And then over there across that fence is where we were earlier playing. This is a brand new place to us. We drive by this place every single day on the way to daycare, but we've never been in here. So it's been a really pleasant experience.
Okay, so they tried it out today, and the kids sound exuberant.
Well, I think
or someone's being tortured.
I think a lot of the kids are at the same point that Jay is. It's almost noon, so it's about nap time. The age range is 2 to 5. I don't see any kids that would be older really than 5. So I think nap time's coming for everybody.
How long?
And as you saw, Jay got pretty sweaty, so they're working out pretty good. So hungry, tired. That's a good setup for a meltdown.
I do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever Jay is upset, I usually ask him if he's hungry first because I get hangry just like him. I think it's pretty natural. But we're eating a Lunchable right now, and then he said that this is his appetizer, and then he wants to go to lunch. So we'll see. I think he's going to fall asleep in the car, though. Hoping.
Okay.
He was up at 6 this morning.
That's a nice break from being super political, but it's, I guess, distressing. I still have TikTok on my phone, but it's not valuable because it's an Android phone, so anybody can still get it. I don't spend any time there. I found TikTok annoying because it is relentless. There's no stop button. You have to totally shut it off. You can't say, I don't want to watch the next one. You just move on. It just keeps pounding the next one at you. Dale, where do you get your news?
Well, I used to, for many, many years, just go to the Wikipedia current events portal. And then they eliminated that. So I don't know why. It was actually a great resource. And Musk wants to buy Wikipedia and rewrite it and shut it down now anyway, so it would probably be going away. So currently, as much as I hate Reddit for many reasons, reddit.com/r/news and /politics are decently moderated, just aggregation of stories from multiple sources. And kind of like Wikipedia, the user comments check any red flags for you, and usually things get deleted if they're not a reliable source. So I use that, and then I flower out from there. And then I have Blue Sky, but it's too concentrated on the left, and there's left misinformation rampant there, and a lot of people fighting each other over who's more leftist, and it's annoying. So, and I'm one of those people. I'm kind of sick of, yeah.
The conservatives don't have a monopoly on putting out misinformation. If I hear something that I think I like, I won't fact check it. I'll just send it out there and repeat it. Now, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about everybody, regardless of their political persuasion. People get a little bit too hyped up.
Yeah, I'm just, because like you and I grew up during a time where we had 3 networks. News only came at us, really twice a day if you were up late enough. And we went through all the, Watergate and all these other situations where the press was doing a deep dive into investigating something. And what I really appreciate, this is what drives me nuts, is the fact checking and the fact that they had to get all, multiple sources on the record. Then they had to, get buy-off up the chain of command at whatever publishing company it was to print these things, because they wanted to make sure that they were factually correct. And that just isn't anything that anybody cares about anymore. And I just, because I was raised in that and my mind works that way, and I appreciate the why behind it, that's why I refuse to watch network TV now, because they don't care. It's, once again, you've got to remember, it's all about the number of eyeballs that they can tell their advertisers that they've got. Like now I'm getting tons of feeds off of Facebook with all these different advertisements. And I'm thinking, well, behind the scenes, Zuckerberg's going, yeah, look at how many people I'm feeding your advertisement to. And then he could probably say, and this is the number of people that clicked on it, whatever. And that's what it's all about. It has nothing with being, that it's a decent product and there's nothing, wrong with it. It's all about the money. It's all about the eyeballs and translating that into dollars. And it doesn't matter what it is that's doing that for them, whether it's truthful or not. And that drives me out of my ever-loving mind. So.
I think one of the most pathetic things they do for views and clicks is in user interface design, where they make confirmation buttons pop up over your most commonly used buttons. Mm-hmm. And those can generate a click, a download, and that drives me insane. You're endorsing things. Yeah.
Right.
It's pathetic, though. People use those kinds of tactics in person-to-person business. Yeah. They look pathetic.
Yeah, and you run into it all the time out there as you're shopping around, so to speak. And it, and then the way that they word things, like, you won't believe, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, my eyeballs roll back in my head. So it just, I feel bad for people of your generation and younger, because you've been exposed to this way of information being fed to you, and you have no understanding of the way it used to be, and the fact that you're constantly having to figure out what's truthful and what's not. But people that are older like me have this built-in, at least I thought we all had the built-in ability because of what we were exposed to in those early years in terms of the fact checking, and people in the industry were actually concerned about publishing something that was not true, because then they would lose, readers, which of course would lose advertising, but it just wasn't on the scale that it is now. So, yeah, sometimes it's good to be old, but then again, I have a lot of frustration right now.
I remember the end of it. I mean, I trusted Peter Jennings, and my local newsmen and women on 3 different local news networks through the 90s, but that all evaporated. Yeah. And I remember my dad complaining about it, newspaper headlines too. He would always say, what happened to articles? They don't use articles.
Yeah.
But, and so he's always made me conscious.
Just give me the facts: who, what, why, where, and when. And then
I mean articles literally like the and a. He would complain about the grammar as well, because communication effective is the most important, is the cornerstone of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed that a lot of the headlines, the way that they're written these days, even in sources that I like, I look at them and go, wait a minute, that's not exactly the wording that I would have used, because you're kind of implying one thing, and yet when I read your article, I'm seeing something else. So everybody's doing it now.
Yeah, the writers don't get to write their headlines.
Well, no, because once again, they want you to click on it.
Yeah, again, it's not the authors of the story, not the writers of the story. There are specific jobs for just headline writers.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cyndi, you got to go, and I see that Sara is in the car on the way back. Has a young Jay fallen asleep?
No, he is not, but that's okay. He said he's not hungry anymore. His Lunchable filled him up, so we are going to just go home.
Okay.
And then I can go upstairs to my little office area and get on my computer instead of the phone.
All right. So I think.
Good to see you
go ahead.
in March.
You muted yourself, Cyndi.
I'm back off. I'm back on again. Yeah. Good to see you guys. Hopefully see you all in March.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see you in March. I'm excited to meet you.
Yes, me too.
So let me wrap up the show, and we'll do this again soon because we're getting kind of warmed up to it. When Jay and I were doing the show, Jay and I were old seasoned broadcasters. We knew how to, pace and throw stuff in and just keep on going. And you guys, this is a little unfair for you because you have not been brought up as broadcasters, even podcasters. You're doing great, but this is not your normal place to live. And I appreciate that you want to, and let's keep on going so that you get those chops, and then take over from Joe Rogan, whoever that is. All right. So let me push the right buttons that are going to make us go away. Oh, there was always this music here. I totally forgot to play it. That will be it. I didn't intend to push that button. Sorry. Oh, and Cyndi is gone. That'll be it for the Jay and Gary Show for now. And we will see you guys next time we come on and do a show. I'm also going to try to get a few more of Jay's friends in to participate in the show. And we'll see what direction things can go. That the Headblade guys that Jay worked with at WEBS. Yes, they are real broadcasters. So we'll see what comes up next. I'll try not to make it quite so long in between. I mean, I got a fair amount of procrastination and just not feeling it for a long time since Jay died and since that election. So trying to warm back up to this whole idea. Again, we'll see you again next time. Let's see. We have had Jay Sundale and Jay's daughter Sara and my wife Cyndi, who really did have to bail, and hanging out there in the corner with us is, of course, always Jay, always hovering over the show, and that will be it trying to figure out if I want to have you guys help me out with the 3-word ending for every show that I ever do. If I start, Dale, let's see if you can come up with a second word, and Sarah, let's see if you can come up with the third word. And I start, it is over.
And
Out.
And then I push the right button here.